research, major changes also coming to the U.S. Department of Education. You may have heard last night the new secretary fired nearly half of the workforce. We're learning that President Trump is expected to issue an executive order to begin the process of fully dissolving that department, though most agree that would take some help from Congress. Dr. Nathan Daun-Barrett is Associate Professor of Educational Leadership and Policy at the University at Buffalo, and he joins me now. Sir, thank you so much for your time. And I just want to start with that sort of basic question there that so many people are asking, because you hear about the U.S. Department of Education, you know a lot of money gets funneled through there, but what is the impact in firing half of the staff on people who are watching right now?
Well, immediately there's fear and uncertainty in a department that plays a pretty critical role. Where folks will probably see it most and first will be in the financial aid sector. This is application season. This is when students are getting financial aid awards from their colleges. And firing half the staff can certainly slow down service provision to those who are in that pipeline. Now, many of those packages have already been issued, but students who apply after this may see that their applications are slowed down. They may see that colleges take longer to respond, and it may take some time to get those packages processed at the beginning of the school year, which makes people really nervous.
Yeah, and understandably so. What do you make of the argument that the Department of Education should just go away and that the money that is earmarked for that department should just be block granted out to the states and let the states handle it?
You know, I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. I think I've heard that the Republicans have been arguing that since the Reagan administration, that the federal government shouldn't have a role in influencing education. You saw it with Linda McMahon's sort of pronouncements about how they were going to dismantle the department. I think the federal financial aid system, for example, would be pretty difficult to do that with. And setting up statewide apparatus for this across 50 different states will complicate matters even further. And some of the other services that are provided are difficult to do. You might think about Title I for low-income schools as eligible for that sort of block granting provision, but I think the other programs will be more difficult to do that way.
We've heard some concern from parents of special education students because so much of that funding and so much of the guidance and sort of the ways in which rules are set comes from the U.S. Education Department. Do you worry about the impact that this move will have, even just firing half the staff, even if this is the end of the cuts? Do you worry about the impact that will have on special education?
I do. Where I'm most concerned in that regard is the enforcement provision that the Department of Education has to ensure that folks are paying attention to the law and that the monies are being properly utilized for the services that they provide. This current administration has really targeted those enforcement functions across the federal government. And when you see cuts like to OCR and some other areas in the Department of Education, what that means is that folks won't be paying attention to how this money is being spent once it is administered. And when parents have concerns that their needs aren't being met, they won't have an ear to listen to that because the staff won't be there to respond.
Dr. Nathan Daun-Barrett, UB Associate Professor of Educational Leadership and Policy. Thanks for sharing your insight on this. It's an important one.
My pleasure. Thank you.